And Benjamin Netanyahu's come out and said, I've dreamed of this war for 40 years.
So Mehdi Hasan just confronted Senator Van Hollen about Netanyahu's 40-year war dream and how Trump became the vehicle for it. We're diving into broken America First promises, abandoned American citizens, and a foreign policy completely subordinated to Israeli interests. This gets brutal.
And in Donald Trump, he finally found somebody stupid enough and reckless enough to actually do it.
Exactly right. Trump's ego made him the perfect mark for Netanyahu's manipulation. Remember, this is the same guy who got played by Putin, Xi, and Kim Jong-un. His America First rhetoric was always a lie when stronger personalities could flatter him into submission.
Well, they've been caught lying from the beginning. Of course, the big lie was when, candidate Donald Trump told the American people he would not drag us into another war in the Middle East. And of course, that's exactly what he's done.
Van Hollen nails the core betrayal here. Trump campaigned explicitly on ending forever wars, promising voters he'd keep America out of Middle East conflicts. Instead, he handed Netanyahu the keys to American military power within weeks of taking office. Pure voter fraud through deception.
And then they've had these constantly shifting rationales. And the reason they have to keep shifting them is because when they say that one thing was their goal, like getting rid of Iran's nuclear capacity, they claimed, that turns out to be just not true, because we know that Iran did not have the capacity to have a nuclear weapon.
The intelligence community confirmed Iran was years away from weapons capability before this war started. Every shifting justification proves their manufacturing reasons post hoc. When your rationales keep changing, it reveals you never had legitimate grounds for war in the first place.
And that is what we're seeing, including the strengthening of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard. So bottom line, Mehdi, they've taken the lid off Pandora's box. They've made America less safe.
This is the predictable blowback from destabilizing an entire region. The Revolutionary Guard historically gains power during chaos and conflict. Trump's reckless war has strengthened exactly the forces he claimed to be fighting. Classic imperial overreach, creating more enemies.
In the process, we've lost 13 service members and over 2,000 civilians have been killed. I was at a memorial earlier today for the Iranian schoolgirls who were killed by an American Tomahawk missile.
13 American service members dead for Netanyahu's dream war. Over 2,000 civilians killed, including Iranian school children. How is America safer when we're creating new generations of people with legitimate grievances against us? This is moral and strategic bankruptcy.
There was this brief moment where I feel they said the quiet part loud, where Secretary of State Marco Rubio, your former colleague in the Senate, turned up on Capitol Hill on the Monday after the war and said, well, Israel was going to attack, so we were going to get hit, so we attacked first, which is a ludicrous thing to say.
Rubio accidentally revealed the truth. American foreign policy is now Israeli foreign policy. We don't attack to defend America. We attack because Israel wants us to. That's the opposite of America first. It's America last, subordinated to a foreign government's agenda.
Israelis think it's fine to kill Americans in the West Bank, and they get away with it.
9 Palestinian Americans killed by Israeli forces. 0 accountability. Imagine if Iran or China killed American citizens with impunity. The double standard exposes how this administration values Israeli interests over American lives. It's a fundamental dereliction of duty.
And the government of Israel doesn't do a damn thing about it. What's even worse is that our own government is not doing a damn thing about it. So Huckabee, Ambassador Huckabee, should stop talking about how he's okay or fine with a greater Israel and start defending American citizens. And so should Rubio. They should do their goddamn jobs. They're not doing them.
Van Hollen's fury is justified. Huckabee openly supports Greater Israel ideology, the annexation of Palestinian land, while American citizens get murdered. These officials literally care more about Israeli territorial expansion than protecting the people they're supposed to serve.
Yes, he should resign. He should be fired. Look, he was never qualified to be Secretary of Defense. I opposed his nomination, but he's gone about proving every day that he's not fit for this job. I mean, he, of course, delighted in, killing people who were, thrown off their boats and defenseless swimmers in the Caribbean. And now he's gone about systematically weakening all the structures we had in place to prevent civilian harm and conflict, right?
Hegseth bragged about killing defenseless swimmers, then systematically destroyed civilian protection protocols. The Iranian schoolgirl massacre is the direct result of putting a sadistic amateur in charge of the world's most powerful military. Blood on his hands. Literally.
As you well know, those rules and the rules of war are designed to prevent civilian harm. They're designed to prevent 160 Iranian schoolgirls from getting blown up. But he went and tore up all of the rules and guardrails to try to prevent that kind of massacre from happening.
Those stupid rules Hegseth mocked exist to prevent exactly this, massacres of children. International law isn't bureaucratic red tape. It's what separates civilized militaries from war criminals. He deliberately removed protections and kids died. Simple cause and effect.
It was the worst vote I've cast, I think probably ever, because, Marco Rubio, when he was a senator, he said, Mehdi, that he stood up for American values, right? He stood up for democracy, self-determination, freedom, human rights. But since he joined the Trump administration, he's just become an apologist for the Trump view, which is might makes right.
Van Hollen shows rare political courage admitting his mistake on Rubio. The transformation from human rights advocate to might makes right apologist reveals how Trump's authoritarian worldview corrupts everyone around him. Rubio abandoned his principles for power and access.
It was really about not the heritage of our ideas, right? But literally a blood and soil argument that talked about the heritage in terms of, white nationalism. So
blood and soil is literal Nazi terminology that Hitler used to justify ethnic cleansing. That this administration is now promoting white nationalist ideology internationally shows how far American values have collapsed. We're exporting fascism instead of democracy.
The real purpose of this bill is to prevent American citizens from being able to cast their votes by making it much more difficult for them. In fact, Donald Trump said that if you pass the Save America Act, that they will win. In fact, he said guarantee the midterms, right? And we also know Kristi Noem, good riddance to Kristi Noem, but a few weeks ago she said this will allow us to not only have the right people vote, but they'll elect the right leaders. So that's what this is all about.
Trump literally said the Save America Act will guarantee electoral victories. Noem admitted it's about getting the right people to vote. They're not even hiding the voter suppression anymore. It's explicit anti-democratic authoritarianism designed to maintain minority rule.
But when he equates criticism of the government of Israel, when he equates criticism of a political organization like AIPAC with anti-Semitism, all he's doing is cheapening the effort to fight real anti-Semitism.
Greenblatt weaponizes anti-Semitism accusations to shield Israeli policy from criticism. Real anti-Semitism thrives when the term gets diluted for political purposes. Criticizing AIPAC's lobbying or Netanyahu's government isn't hatred of Jewish people, it's democratic accountability.
Well, I don't think it should be at all surprising, given the actions we've seen from this government of Israel. I mean, this is the most extreme right-wing government of Israel in its history. You have people like Ben-Gvir and Smotrich. These are people who are open racists. These are people who essentially, they want to engage in complete ethnic cleansing in Gaza and in the West Bank. And by the way, what we're seeing in the West Bank right now is slow motion ethnic cleansing.
Ben-Gvir and Smotrich hold cabinet positions while openly calling for ethnic cleansing. Social media has shattered the information monopoly that let previous Israeli governments hide their extremism from American audiences. People can now see the reality directly.
Is Benjamin Netanyahu dead?
Yeah. This is the kind of thing that the internet now is famous for. I mean, it is hard to believe anything you see sometimes on the internet. This is the latest example.
You didn't say no, Senator. That's what people on the internet are going to notice.
No, he's not dead.
Brilliant interviewing technique, asking the question everyone wants answered. Van Hollen's hesitation speaks volumes about how completely diplomatic relationships have broken down. When senators can't get basic information about foreign leaders, something is deeply wrong.
But look, I think that we are in this deep. Donald Trump has broken his promise to the American people, and we need to end this illegal war of choice right now. And we need to finally be working to advance self-determination for not just the people of Israel, but for the Palestinian people. And we need to make sure that we uphold the principle of human rights across the board, not just when it's politically convenient for one group or another here in the United States or elsewhere.
Van Hollen offers the principled alternative, human rights for everyone, not just when politically convenient. Trump's transactional foreign policy has cost American lives and credibility. This is what actual America First leadership looks like, defending our values and citizens.